Corner to Corner podcast. Yay! My name is Geoff. I've got a saucy new microphone.
It's got lights on it. It's got little flashy lights. You picked that in a pound shop.
It was a bit more than that, but
£1.50.
Quite nice.
Did they include the plug with it, or was that extra?
No, it did.
Just powers when you plug it in, is it?
Yeah. So we are here today to talk. We're going to do a commentary episode. Why? Because there's nothing else to talk about.
Nothing else is out there right now, frankly. There's no news. There's no sausage of a sign. No sign of a hut. I don't know where the sausage came from. That's the problem, because there's nothing going on.
No, there's not. So if you're listening,
not even a rumour. Not even are there any decent rumours?
I have seen.
There must be some rumours around.
I have seen a rumour today, which popped up from another online purveyor of news and gossip.
Another podcast.
It's not a podcast, but it's an online purveyor
of news and gossip. Yeah, you did say. Yeah,
news and gossip.
How foolish of me to question that.
Can you guess what the rumour was?
No, I've no idea. There's going to be, I don't know, the next Doctor's going to be played by a fish.
No, it's that our favourite's returning.
What?
David.
What?
Yeah.
Is that like the go-to of any, when things get quiet, it's like, oh, David Tennant's coming back.
David will be back to save it.
David will be back. He'll save it.
Save it the way Russell saved it.
Do you know what, though? Because I remember laughing about this years and years ago when they said David was going to, when they said Jodie was going to be regenerated into David. And I laughed it off and I quaffed and, climbed onto my platform of moral superiority to howl my mirth at the lesser beings of the world. And it turns out they were absolutely right. So whatever,
So I didn't investigate this any further because let's just
siphon it off into another universe.
So if you're watching or listening, let us know what you might like from us. It's dire out there for Doctor Who.
No, it isn't.
Well, not dire. No, that's not true.
It's not dire. There's 60-odd years worth of stuff out there, mate. We barely scratched the surface.
Shut up.
Come on.
No, what I was going to say is there's nothing new. It's nothing really new, but that's not entirely true because there's another 13th Doctor audio next month. There's another 9th Doctor audio that we haven't yet caught up with. There's a new 11th Doctor series. There's a few books coming. So there is stuff.
There is stuff. There's Target novelisations. We've got season 21 collection Blu-ray. I'm very much looking forward to that.
There's nothing new of the main show itself. So do let us know what you'd like. We've got a couple of things planned.
We do.
We're due to talk to the writer of the next 13th Doctor audio in March. And we're going to be doing something with Titan Comics soon to tie in with the current series that they've got going on. Tonight we were going to be talking with our friend Al Dewar about the recently released TEGAN figure, which has come out.
TEGAN.
Al was not able to join us in the end tonight, but we're going to carry on with our plan, which is to watch Resurrection of the Daleks Part 1 and 2 and have a chat about it. And then hopefully Al will join us next week, where we will carry on and we can take a look at the Tegan figure and talk all about that as well, which would be nice. And I was going to say something else.
Doesn't matter. Come on, it's getting late.
So let's get going with this. So over to the iPlayer and Resurrection of the Daleks Part 1. So 3, 2, 1, go.
There we go.
So
love that opening.
I've been out filming today and the topic of Who came up and we were discussing favourite Doctors and things, and someone said that they loved Tennant and didn't particularly think much of it all after that point when he left. So I got in a strop, smashed my cameras up, and walked off and left him.
You didn't.
I
that
said,
would be fun if you did do that, though.
They said, "Oh, who's your favourite?" And I said, "Well, it's Jodie." And they were quite surprised. And I told them it's been nice knowing them. said,
I'm never going to work for you ever again. Well, you never work for me ever again, whichever way it was.
End of convo.
Yeah.
But it was quite an interesting chat, and one of the chaps there runs the theatre company I was with. He said his favourite Doctor was Peter Davison.
There you go.
So I said that he was yours as well, one of yours. But yes, it was quite interesting talking with people who they obviously sort of were interested in the show, but their perception of it had changed a bit in recent years. And one of them hadn't watched any of Jodie's stuff, but I made them want to reassess their approach to that. And a couple of the others had watched Shooty stuff, but felt similar, that he was great, but the stories themselves were not. So it was quite interesting getting the little bit of input from, non-hardcore Whovians. Oh, that poor bloke's just died.
So you've got a really weird thing going on here, right? Now, this is massive, because suddenly, right, you think of what's just happened in the last minute or so of this story. We've got a bunch of coppers coming out, chasing a bunch of people with all kinds of different gear on them, all sorts of futuristic stuff, in a rundown area of the East End of London on a miserable rainy day. They shoot them down, they disappear, and then the two coppers just walk on quite nicely. This is what I would call a hook, and it's a pretty grim one, for sure. This looks like this is straight out of those kind of 1970s, early 1980s kind of cop shows,
it's like
Sweeney. Stuff like that. The Professionals.
McNugget.
Taggart. No.
Ice Taggart.
Well, maybe a little bit of that. But then, of course, the copper turns up in a spaceship, and we kind of know what's going on. I mean, this is a lot in 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, it is really.
There's a lot of stuff going on. It's like, and it's one thing I do like about this story. I don't think this is a massively successful story, but the kind of the ambition of it is really massive. It is a big scale adventure for the Doctor. And this is fun as well. The Doctor's in the TARDIS with Tegan and Turlough, and it picks up right after the end of Frontiers. So we watched Frontiers with Jonathan Wilkins, didn't we? Because it was one of his favourite stories. And that ended on a cliffhanger. So if you're listening to this, you can listen to our Frontiers commentary first, and then come on to this and find out what happens next.
There's some good shaky cam acting going on.
There's a lot of
in
single camera stuff going on here.
Yeah.
And this is, I mean, that in itself is quite a thing as well, because this is the season where Doctor Who, for me, became suddenly brilliant. Like, I may be 3 or 4 years into being a sort of card-carrying fan at this time when this story first was broadcast. And I remember being massively excited for this, because it had been trailed a lot.
Right.
And, I'd really enjoyed Frontiers. And we knew that the Dalek story was coming up next, and I just could not wait. Because the last time I'd seen Daleks in a Doctor Who, with it not being a repeat, was Destiny of the Daleks. But I was only young. I was only a nipper then. I didn't really watch all of it. You know what I mean? I think a Genesis of the Daleks had been on since then. I think that was on the Five Faces of Doctor Who. Or no, it wasn't even on that. It was another repeat or something. But anyway, whatever. This was the first time a brand new Dalek story had happened in my lifetime, and that was quite a big event. And suddenly to get something which looked like this, and it was dark and grimy, and there's no silliness in here at this point. It looks like it's trying to be hardcore sci-fi and gangster kind of thing. So I loved it. I thought this was the Doctor Who that I wanted to kind of see. And of course, the guy there who's playing Stein, Rodney Bewes, was straight out of a sitcom that my dad used to watch. The Likely Lads and whatever happened to the Likely Lads. Big 1960s and 70s. Him. They're not him. Not this guy.
One?
No, not him. He's going to get shot. This guy on the stairs, Rodney Bewes.
I thought I recognised him, but
yeah, he was in loads of things. I think he was in that. In fact, actually, what else was he in? He was in a whole bunch of stuff. Anyway,
no, he's teleported again.
And this is another weird thing as well, because I think the casting in this is kind of ridiculous on the one hand, but actually really inspired on the other, because it's full of faces that, I mean, Chloe Ashcroft is in it. She comes up in a little while, right? But she'd been in Play School, which was like a sort of,
I remember Play School,
a kids thing. And I mean, like small kids, like little kids, you'd watch Play School if you were 5, just starting school.
Yeah.
Right? And she was one of the presenters on that. And now suddenly she's in Doctor Who. And not just any Doctor Who, one that's quite hardcore as well.
Yeah.
And so that was weird. And we had Rula Lenska as well, who was always on Blankety Blank or something. This guy, Maurice Colburn, Commander Lytton, obviously, because we saw him in Attack of the Cybermen, but this is before Attack of the Cybermen, so he kind of picks up from after this one on that. And Peter Davison as a Doctor here is just he's just hitting his stride, I feel. He's just getting into it, and we already knew he was on his way out, and that was the more this series went on, the more his decision to leave seemed like a really bad idea. You know, because it's like, no, I want more of him.
It's happened with other Doctors, isn't it?
Yeah. There's Rula Lenska. So apparently, story goes, right, because a lot of the people in this this sort of space prison, they had to wear helmets or hats, right? And if she did that, she would cover her lovely red hair, which was kind of her sort of identifying feature back in the 80s. That's what she was known for, having lovely red hair. So they made her wear this headband instead of a hat or a helmet. Apparently. So the story goes.
Well, I suppose if you're paying for her, you know.
Well, indeed,
he's got a chip shop man hat.
But you see, I'd never seen her act in anything. I just saw her in things like, just stuff like Blankety Blank, like panel game shows on Saturday night and stuff like that. Yeah, so I didn't even know she was actually a proper actor until I saw her in this. And for me, it was like, why are they getting Rula Lenska to do this? Do you know what I mean? It's like almost like Beryl Reid being the space captain in Earthshot. But she's good, you know. They're all pretty believable in this. It's directed by a guy called Matthew Robinson. I think this was his first kind of big thing that he'd done. It was definitely his first Doctor Who story that he directed.
Right.
And the story goes, well, this story was supposed to be in the previous series in season 20, and it was going to be the big finale to that series, but it was delayed for various reasons, industrial strikes and Terry Nation sort of hanging on to the scripts before he gave them his kind of authorization and, you know, said, his approval. That's the word I'm looking for. And in the end, it was kind of cancelled, and they held it over to this one. Peter Grimwade, who'd directed Full Circle, which was the end of Tom Baker's series, and who wrote Mordred Undead just before this, was due to direct it, but he didn't. So, you know, they I think he annoyed John Nathan Turner, so John Nathan Turner didn't ask him back, but then Saywood said, no, you can write a story for this series. That became Planet of Fire. Anyway, so Matthew Robinson, who'd never done anything much before, done this. And so you've got a new director coming in, right, who'd kind of been known for directing action-y type stuff. And if you look at this, a lot of this stuff is Steadicam and single camera work, you know, and it's the first time we'd really seen that sort of style of direction and sort of cinematography or photography or whatever in Doctor Who. And it gives it another level. It kind of elevates it slightly.
Yes.
And I love it for that.
Yeah.
If you look at the way the camera moves in this, you know, and it's the scenes are quite short and the cuts are very fast in between them. Kind of like Earthshot was couple of years before this. Obviously same writer, and he's kind of almost looking to kind of replicate the success they had with Earthshock, but this time doing it with Daleks instead. Here we go, Shad Thames. We were down there a couple of years ago, mate. Was it?
Yeah,
no, it was only last year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Most of that's kind of been renovated now. It's all luxury flats and corporate shared offices.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Did that job.
We did that thing we didn't get paid for, yeah.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Yeah, that was
I
great.
think it's 1984. Oh, we were going to have a little walk down here, weren't we? Because you know, when I realised where we were quite close, but in the end, we just didn't get time to do it, which is a bit of a shame. So it could have been fun.
Yeah,
but it has all changed, and in a way, it's almost like this story with those sort of exteriors, that location work, becomes a kind of a record of how that part of the East End was, or Dockside was before it changed and became all gentrified.
We did eventually get paid for anyone would like to know.
Just took a while.
It took a very long time and was massively unhelpful to running a business.
And
if I'm honest, that may well have contributed to some difficulties that I had.
Mate, they're not listening, so you know they won't listen to our podcast.
No, they won't be listening.
I went out and shot them all in the head. So. After they paid their money, obviously.
Yeah, after, yeah.
Yeah. So something's going on here, isn't it? So this spaceship or prison station is kind of under attack. Something's going on. There's all sorts of things. There's shakes and wobbles.
It is well lit again. This is reminding me a bit of when we watched that Colin Baker story with Alan. There was
a revelation of the Daleks.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and there was quite a strong attempt in that. That was be moody and atmospheric and kind of filmic in the way it's lit. And this is nice. It's quite dark. There's a red area there. There's spotlit at the front there. It's good. It like you said, it's trying to lift itself a bit and be more than just blasted with light studio.
It is, yeah. I'm just gonna.
I think I filmed Gulenska at an event once.
Did you?
Yeah. Yeah, she was with her friend Pencil Sharpener and Protractor. He hasn't listened to that, anyone.
I did, a Pencil Sharpener, you said.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure it was an event. Joanna Lumley was there.
Joanna Lumley was there as well.
Yeah. I'm absolutely certain I filmed it. It was a few years ago now, mind. But yeah.
She kind of got involved in all sorts of stuff, didn't she? She was, she was quite a face in the 80s. She was pretty well known, certainly over here in the UK at least anyway. I don't really know what she went on to do or what happened. I know she's in all kinds of things like in the years following this, so she obviously did quite well for herself. And I think as well, I read somewhere that her daughter was on set on one of the studio days for this.
Oh, right.
And I think her daughter's name was Lara Lenska, I guess, I suppose, but there you go. And apparently Janet Fielder, because this is Tegan's last story, and apparently Janet Fielding was, I don't know, she was kicking off at something or just getting a bit upset that it was her final day or something recording. And she's using some choice language, apparently.
Oh,
and
really?
She had to be reminded that there were small people
little people around.
visiting the studio, so to speak. But it's such an ambitious story, this, I mean, just the model shots we've got. There's probably more model shots in those last couple of minutes.
Nice model shots, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just having I was just going to say, just having a look at the TEGAN figure that just came out, and I'd seen pictures of it a while ago, and it does look really good. And I do believe, so I'm going to look it up. I think this is the first one that has been done of TEGAN.
Oh, is it? So
I think so. Yeah. Let's have a look. Filter by Doctor. Here we go. This website might help. Fifth Doctor. If Al was on, he'd be able to tell us. So TEGAN. Have a look.
So this is just while you're looking at that then. So this is this story is in obviously season 21, which is just about to be released on the collection Blu-ray box sets, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we're probably just over a month away from that coming out. I think it's early March it's out, and we're recording this right at the very end of January. So when it appears on Blu-ray, it's going to have some nice new effects on, apparently, which is going to be fun, I think, because there's some, there's some, a lot of the effects work on here, like that explosion as the Daleks come through the door, is as much it's much about the use of lighting in studio as it is about the video effects that they put on afterwards. That carries a lot of that. I mean, that explosion was pretty big there.
Yeah.
They all looked a little bit surprised by that, to be honest. So, but it'd be nice to see some kind of, some nice quicker Dalek shots and slightly more convincing sort of laser guns and things like that. Because that was always a thing that sort of did for me. In this, it was like, I could enjoy it, and then there's some really sort of shaky video effects, sort of laser beams and stuff like that, which just didn't really seem to cut the mustard. So you have to sort of move past it, don't you? Go on.
The destroyed Dalek, and the figure looks really good. I like seeing Dalek guts everywhere.
Ah, it's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, we're only, 15, 16 minutes into this story?
Yeah.
And we've seen a lot of explosions. We've seen spaceships docking. We've had laser battles. We've had Dalek battles. We had Daleks exploding. It's a lot going on.
Mm.
And it's one of those stories where I think actually kind of needs to be like that, because if it slows down and stops for a minute, you start questioning the plot.
Yeah.
And there is a whole can of Dalek mutants, I'll tell you now. So let's... We might have to talk about that at some point. I'm trying to avoid it, but let's crack on. So the Doctor and companions with their new visitor, Steen, are in a warehouse.
What's his name?
Steen, I believe.
Oh, Steen. I thought you said
Steen or Stein.
Steen. That where
Steen,
the idea of
Rodney.
petrol came from. Where we have a Steen.
So the Doctor's kind of getting involved in the mystery of what's been going on here, and why is there a guy in futuristic clothing with a stammer who's hanging around the East End of London. And also, where's Turlough? How many times has Tegan uttered the words, "Where's Turlough"? Like, he's just disappeared. Like,
Well, is he up to something here? Because there was a sort of lingering shot on him earlier, leaving the TARDIS looking suspect.
He's snooping around. And we got the army here as well, Could have been a good opportunity to have UNIT involved, but I don't think it's UNIT. I think it's just regular army dudes.
Ulla Lenska's got a helmet on there.
She has got a helmet on now. But look, it's got glass top, so you can still see her lovely red hair.
I'm going to have to look her up. Let's see what else she's done.
You're going to look her up, aren't you? So we're back in the space station. We got 2 exploded Daleks. In comes a mercenary. Uh-oh, it's given off some gas. I think this is where it gets a little bit nasty, if memory serves.
Oh, does it? Let me keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
No, they're still driving around, even though they're wrecked.
Oh, no, it's been shoved out of the way by the incoming Daleks behind it. It's been bunched along. Now, look at this guy's face there. This is what the gas has done. Because one thing that, if you think about the Daleks, they're not just like invaders that come around and shoot shit out of people, right? They're pretty big on biological and chemical warfare as well. You think right back to the Dalek invasion of Earth, right? Earth had been kind of wiped out by a Dalek-made plague before the Daleks came down and did their stuff. And I think we had it in Planet of the Daleks as well. They were sort of messing around with some kind of virus or something. So again, quite a dark theme. And whereas in those stories though, I think Planet of the Daleks, it was they released a bit of the virus in a controlled environment, like in a lab, and one of the Daleks started spinning around and they all shot it and got a bit nasty or stuff like that. But if you remember back to Genesis of the Daleks, right? And Davros holds that little file and the Doctor proposes the question, if you crush that file and it releases such a deadly plague that it wipes out all life in the universe, would you do it? And Davros ponders it for a minute, and then he says, yes, he would do it, because it would set himself up among the gods and all that kind of thing. So the Daleks have a propensity towards dishing out justice via chemical and biological weapons. And this story, we see the effects of those on human peoples. And it's not pleasant.
So, Let Ulla Lenska has appeared in television series including Minder, Boone, Footballers' Wives, One Foot in the Grave, Casualty, Space, 1999, Robin of Sherwood, Doctors and EastEnders. I imagine on a lot of things it was probably a one-off episode.
Did the rounds.
But it says here, in the 70s, she made it to the final 5 actresses shortlisted for the role of a companion in Doctor Who. Do you know which companion?
I would. It could be Leela.
No, it was Jo Grant.
Jo Grant, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well. There's a thing.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Interesting.
A few films. So it did quite a lot of stage as well. Yeah.
Do you see who's in the tank in the background in this scene?
Oh, there he is. Yeah.
Yeah, Davros. So now we know why the Daleks, or we think we know. There's a reason at least why the Daleks are invading this space station. Now the Doctor's being confronted by the army, who Actually, now you would think don't believe his story, but actually they do believe his story. Except they're saying they don't, but clearly the Doctor can see they do believe this. They know they've seen some weird stuff and it's been kicking off.
Alien objects.
Yeah. And there's Chloe Ashcroft. There she is with the glasses. Bless her, from Play Away and Play School and all those kiddie things that I used to watch.
Was she an actress as well, or was this just a stunt?
I guess she was. I don't know, actually. I haven't really sort of looked her up.
Seeing Davros in a cage there. Oh dear.
Oh, this is nice. Look at that. Yeah.
Oh dear. You know it's not going to go well. This is like having the Dominus Rex or something in your pen, you know.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah, it's completely frozen there. In come the space mercenaries. You see, also they got these weird sort of
helmets.
Yeah, exactly. Do you remember what was that Matt Smith story? There was a couple of them actually, wasn't there, where Dalek protuberances appeared out their foreheads.
Yeah. But actually,
similar
also
kind
they
of
look
thing.
Like what's his name in Spaceballs? Like Bellend or something. You know, the Darth. what's his name? Darth Vader spin-off.
Spaceballs.
Yeah. Do you not know Spaceballs?
The comedy
one. Mel Brooks, yeah. What's Rick Moranis? He plays a Darth Vader type, and I can't remember his name.
Yeah. Anyway, enough of that.
I've got to look it up.
But it's quite interesting, I think, when the modern series sort of takes its cues from stuff that has been going on, you know, in the old days.
Yeah.
Because again, there's a bit of thought gone into that, and it might look slightly ridiculous, right? Great big helmets with a big knob on the end, and sort of Dalek balls down the sides, so they sort of look like they're wearing mini Daleks on their heads.
Yeah,
but it kind of makes sense because they're Dalek employed mercenaries, so they're obviously giving them a bit of their technology to get an advantage.
Lord's Dark Helmet.
See, this is where the special effects just need a little bit of a tweak, I think. You know, I can kind of get through it now. It's okay, you know, but I remember being really cheesed up by them when I was a kid watching this. And I think if I was 10 years like older, so if I was in my teens in the 70s as opposed to in the 80s, I think it would be quite different, because what we had in the 80s was things like, I mean, Space 99 had kind of been and gone by the time this came out, but obviously Star Wars was a massive thing, and by this time Return of the Jedi was out, and all the copy films that Star Wars had kind of generated, Battlestar Galactica as well, all of that sort of stuff. Buck Rogers in the 25th Century had been out on ITV a couple of years before this, and it sort of set a standard for the sort of space special effects type stuff that was, you know, that Doctor Who just didn't come close to matching, and it was always a massive disappointment, you know, because it was like, if they could just, because when you're a kid, when I was a kid anyway, I didn't see any reason why they couldn't have space guns that shot realistic looking laser beams, do you know what I mean? Laser beams with a bit more punch to them or something.
It's just money though, isn't it?
Yeah, money, time, lack of knowledge or tools, equipment, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. This is why I think, you know, Doctor Who, a lot of Doctor Who at this time was really looking a bit dated in comparison to its competitors. You know, it's still doing all right, you know, and I obviously enjoyed it. I thought, because the stories, you know, we all say it's all about the stories, which it is, but it just didn't seem to have the pizzazz or the wow factor until you get stories like this, where they're cut faster. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's lots of explosions, lots of battles and stuff like that. Because now suddenly it looks like Doctor Who could compete at that level.
Yeah.
And then it goes and fires a laser beam that looks like it was scratched over the celluloid or videotape or something, you know, with a felt pen. And it just seems to kind of let it down. So there's always that little disappointment element when I was kind of watching these.
Yeah, that's quite interesting, you know, especially, you know, wouldn't sort of know any different back then.
You would. That's our point. That's what I'm saying to you. You would know different, because everything else that was on at the time, Buck Rogers, Battlestar Galactica, and all the films and everything else had much, much better looking effects than this stuff. So if you were on in the 70s, pre-Star Wars, you wouldn't have known any different because that was just the way everything was. But as soon as Star Wars arrived, then everything kind of changed.
Right. Do you think the show, with what it had recently, how it stood up, to other shows now? Do you know what I mean? Like you're saying about how back then, you felt that the show wasn't wasn't matching up to other things. Do you think that's been the case now?
Well, only in terms of its special effects, really. That was the thing, and maybe in terms of the sort of pacing and sort of camera work of the actual show. And as I said before, this is a story where that suddenly seems to not be an issue because it's like they're breaking beyond the sort of studio format. Nowadays, I mean, you take the last couple of years with all the Disney money and everything else, I mean, the show looked like it could easily sit alongside the sort of Marvel series and everything else that was kind of going on there. But it seemed to be at the cost of the stories, for me at least, anyway. So, it kind of just shows, if I could go back to my 14-year-old self, when is this? 11-year-old self, and say, look, Paul, it's not just about the whizzy special effects. You need the stories as well, mate. I don't know what he'd say, actually. He'd probably tell me to go do one, because it's just not true. But I think it is true. It's sort of like, the surface detail is great. And I think you need that more now than ever. I think we were starting to kind of understand we needed it in the 80s. And I think now you just got to have it. You cannot even put a show on unless it can compete visually at that sort of high level. And the bar has always been raised even higher. But Doctor Who does seem to be standing its ground in the 21st century. And I love it for that.
I think so, yeah.
We were talking... Sorry, go on.
Who's playing Davros here?
So this is Terry Malloy, isn't it? His first outing as Davros. So I think they wanted to get Michael Wisher back, who played Davros in Genesis of the Daleks. And had this story gone ahead the previous year in season 20, then I believe he would have, because he was around, he'd signed up to play Davros.
Right.
But because it was delayed and put back a year, he suddenly wasn't available. So they had to find somebody else. I don't think David Goodison, who played him in Destiny of the Daleks, was around either. So they just cast out there, and Terry Malloy took it on. He'd been in The Archers. He played a character on the radio series, The Archers, for years and years and years. So he already, knew how to sort of act with his voice and everything else.
And he played it for quite a while, didn't he? And,
in every story after this until the old series ended. So and he was astonishingly good at it. He really got into the character. Apparently, I think if we could get Terry Malloy on, we should, because I would love to have a chat with him. But apparently he watched the old Genesis of the Daleks tapes. They sent him out to have a look at, and he got really into it. And just sort of recorded himself, played it back, listened to it on his phones, recorded again until he found the voice and everything else that he was looking for. Look at this, squelching around in a Dalek wreckage.
Yeah, that's cool. When we spoke to Colin Baker, he mentioned Terry, didn't he? And
they're buddies,
quite good pals, yeah. When I went to see Colin on stage in Hound of the Baskervilles, Terry Malloy was in it as well.
Yeah, he was... Dr. Watson, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
To Colin's Sherlock. And we've got another well-known figure in here coming up at some point, I think, if he hasn't been already and I missed him.
Who's that?
I'll tell you in a minute. Well, you'll see him. You'll spot him. You'll see him a mile off. And of course, he wasn't well known back then. You know what I'm talking about, don't you, listeners? Hey, Ange! Knock it out. Knock it on the head. Put that light out. So another gun battle. This one, sans special effects, apart from a light bulb at the end of the gun. So you really have to kind of go with it. And I don't want to keep rabbiting on about it, but it was the one thing that just killed me about this story. I think Warriors of the Deep was the same as well, because I loved Warriors of the Deep. Even first time round, and then, they started rolling out the Merca and all sorts of other stuff. And it's just like, no, man, just get away from all that nonsense that Doctor Who used to do back in the day. Give us more of this. Give us that squelchy mutant.
Is this being jazzed up on the new collection?
I think it's got some new effects, yeah.
Oh, has it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it'll be interesting to see. Mind you, I mean, sometimes the trouble with those new effects, though, is they actually look more dated than the original effects, I think. This dude here, this army dude with the curly hair, now who's he? Because he's somebody, isn't he? I don't know who. What's his name? He's been in stuff. Oh, look, Dalek mutant round the neck.
Is he been face-hugged?
Yeah, or neck-hugged. Does it put you in mind of, what's it called? The Chris Chibnall one with the junkyard Dalek.
Yeah.
That's another one began with R. What was that one?
What, Resurrection?
No, this is Resurrection. Resolution. See, that's it. They all began starting their Dalek episodes with an R. Resurrection, Revelation, Remembrance. What was that one you just said? Resolution. Yeah. And what was the one after that? Revolution. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. And I think, I'm pretty sure Chris Chibnall's picking quite a few cues out of this. Because, it's like the Dalek kind of mythology or palette of, sort of the stuff. We should record these late at night, mate. I can't think of what to say, but it's like a toolbox or a sandbox of Dalek stuff, right? That kind of gets, every time somebody writes a new Dalek story, more stuff gets thrown into it, and the subsequent writers can come along and sort of pick stuff out and play around with those, and and it kind of adds to the weight of, or the credibility of the Daleks being a vast race of galactic conquerors. Mm-hmm. And we've also had a teleporting Dalek in here as well, didn't we? Which comes back in Remembrance of the Daleks, the 7th Doctor story.
Wow, look at that old phone.
The old pay box, yeah. Wow. So his radio's not working, so he's got to go out to a phone box, and the phone is dead. How many times did that happen? Thing is, though, given out this EastEnder London, I mean, look how clean that little phone box is. I mean, it doesn't have any...
calling cards.
Yeah, exactly. I used to walk around London and you just see them plastered with, suspicious-looking calling cards with their dodgy numbers on and illustrations, shall we say.
Yeah.
And who does he go to? He goes to the good old police bobbies. Hey, may I use your radio? Thank you. Yeah, it's not going to work, mate.
Oh, no.
When they shake it, what do they expect to hear? Oh.
Yeah, no, suddenly... come on.
Yeah. Turlough sneaking around the space station.
It's Daleks. Good set on this one.
Yeah, it is actually. It is a very nice set. And again, actually, I mean, it's probably the brightest set in this story so far, but it's still got some nice shadows in it, Now, this is fun. This kind of references a very famous sci-fi story, I believe. As they hunt the alien. There he is. Look at him down there on the left. Do you recognise him?
Hold on, he's gone.
He'll be back in a minute. See, they're also mentioning the Movellans in this as well. So the Movellans were in the previous Dalek story, Destiny of the Daleks, and at the end of that, they took Davros away. And this, it turns out, is a Movellan space station. So the Movellans put Davros on here, left him to it, and then, there you go. Do you recognise him yet? So there's a bit of backstory.
I'll see him clearly.
You will, don't worry. You'll see him, and then it'll hit you like a light bulb. He's good at it. Do you know what? Every time I start watching this, though, when Terry Malloy speaks, even though I've got the volume right down, I cannot help but listening to him. He's so good. It's almost like he was born to play Davros. And people say David Wisher was, Michael Wisher. What am I talking about? Honestly, was the best. But I tell you what, Terry Malloy is something about his Davros.
Yeah, he is just really good.
Ultra creepy.
Yeah.
Not to take anything away from Michael Wisher, I think he's fantastic. Again, spellbinding when you watch Genesis of the Daleks. And I've no doubt he would have been fantastic in this as well, but somehow Terry Malloy just fills that character with such menace and calculating presence.
Who is it?
You don't recognise him yet, really? Ah.
No.
Well, he's got his hair slicked back quite a bit more. It's Leslie Grantham, Dirty Dan from EastEnders. Before he was Dirty Dan in EastEnders. Yeah. I think that was another year or two away-ish, thereabouts. Yeah. So apparently he'd been in prison, right? Because he murdered some dude, some taxi driver or something years ago. And he'd been in prison for 10 years. And when he was in prison, he did acting classes.
Well,
right?
Leslie Grantham.
Yeah.
Really?
So, but Louise Jameson, who used to run the acting classes in the prison that he was banged up in.
Yeah.
And when he came out, when he did his time, he came out, went into acting, and this is not his first job, I don't think, but one of his first jobs, I believe. But yeah, he was convicted for killing a taxi driver in some kind of altercation or something.
Let me look that up.
You don't believe me, do you?
Convicted? Oh.
Yeah, it's true. You found it?
Yeah.
There you go, see? Geoff, for those of you just listening, Geoff is looking in absolute shock and horror at his Wikipedia page now.
It's true.
Yeah. It's true, mate. I told you. What, do you believe me? Eh? Anyway, he's good in this. He becomes sort of Davros's kind of right-hand man, because did you see it there? We had a little thing. Davros reached out with his wizened hand and plugged his neck with something. Back to the Doctor in the army, searching for the alien with the big stick. Be careful where you poke the stick, Doctor. Uh-oh. Things are moving. Things are moving. Do you know one of the other sort of regrets, I don't know if that's the right word, but I'll go with it for now, I have about this story. Let's wait for this bit, because this is fun. Is it an alien?
It's a cat. I did not know that about it.
Is a cat. Yeah.
Wow.
Right. So one of the other things about this story, which is kind of bizarre in a way, is it's Tegan's last story, right?
Yeah, but she's just been bedridden for.
But yeah, exactly. Yeah, where is she in the story? She's not driving it. She's not doing anything right at the moment. She's in bed, injured because something fell on her head, and this is like
Doctor just fired a gun.
Oh yeah, Peter Davison. Yeah, the Fifth Doctor does, especially in Eric Saywood stories. There's a scene in Earthshot where he has a gun for just like half a second, but in that half second, someone took a photograph of it on the studio, and it was on the cover of the first release of the Earthshock novelisation. So yeah, the Fifth Doctor is quite gun happy, and this isn't the last time he's going to hold a gun in this story, mate. I tell you now. I mean, this is another thing that kind of splits fandom, doesn't it? Eric Saywood stories. Do you love them, or are they not really Doctor Who? Do they take it in a bold new direction, or do they push Doctor Who into places where it probably shouldn't be? Because there's no doubt about it, they're a lot more violent, they're a lot more gritty, perhaps. They're quite often a lot more bizarre in terms of their plotting. But Eric Saywood was of the kind of school of thought where if you're going to show violence, you have to almost like respect it in a way. Show it for what it is. You don't gloss over it. It's not slapstick.
No.
When you hit someone, it hurts. When you shoot someone, they bleed. And he was, although he didn't want to go too grotesque, I don't think, nonetheless, there's a kind of, that has to be truthful. There has to be a truthfulness to that kind of action. And Saywood was quite forthright that should be the case. And I think, to be fair, a lot of 80s things at the time was sort of in that direction anyway. I mean, the 70s have been even grimmer and darker than that, but at least there was a bit of colour and light in the 80s stuff, but a bit of neon. So things are sort of livening up a little bit, but there's still some of those themes still present here that kind of pervade through. So I can't actually remember why the Daleks have taken on this station. I think it's to get Davros, but I can't actually remember if it's to kill him or what. I think I missed that again.
Yeah, there's often a bit of sort of not back and forth, but sometimes they want him, sometimes they don't. And...
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. He's kind of, obviously, they wanted him in Destiny of the Daleks to kind of break the deadlock they'd be having in their war with the Mavellans.
I was just going to say, when did we last see him in the show? And it was with Capaldi, wasn't it?
I think it was actually. Yeah, it was a while ago now.
And then
that two-parter,
that children in need thing.
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
I agree.
Turlough's getting beaten up again. It's kind of like Mark Strickson, here's your contract. It says I get beaten up a lot. Yep. It also says I hide in corridors a lot. Yep. Lurking. Don't forget the lurking. Lurking in corridors a lot. And I get tied up a lot. Yep. That's about the strength of it. There's young Janet lying down.
Does he leave in this? When does he leave?
The following story, Planet of Fire, I believe, which is where Nicola Bryant makes a somewhat stunning entrance in a bikini. And Mark Strickson rushes out in his little Speedos to rescue her. I was only young at the time, but certain images stay with you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Confusing. What is this? What is going on here? The way the Daleks move in here is very nicely done.
Was there figures of those ones recently? There was, I
think so. Yeah, very, very likely. I'm trying to think who this guy is. This sergeant here, Sergeant Calder. Who plays him? Philip Goff. What else has he been in?
Oh.
A Welsh actor. Been on loads. It just says he's been on a variety of television programs. On my little summary. But yeah, I'm sure his was another face that used to be around. Exterminates. That's what you want to hear a Dalek say, isn't it? Yeah, he takes them on.
Well, he's not doing much.
No, it's not going to do him any good.
Oh, feathers.
I mean, look at that. 3 Daleks moving in unison. Four of them even, yeah.
Oh, Tegan's healed.
Yeah, gunfire. We should get out of here. So she's got a friend. Have you been counting the deaths in this story?
No, I haven't, but is it quite high?
Well, I think all these guys have been killed. So now they're acting strangely, right? You notice that?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're under the fluence. Or are they, actually? This is where it starts getting really complicated now. So if you weren't following the plot up to this point, you got no chance with anything that happens after here.
What's behind his garage door? Ooh.
Guess what? More Daleks. Sent to guard him. So the Daleks recruited these mercenaries to knock on the door of the space station so that they could all bust in and do something with Davros, either take him prisoner or bung him out or whatever. Meanwhile, they set up a time corridor, which is attached to 1984 Earth, East End of London, Docklands. The mercenaries are also down there dressed as policemen, keeping an eye on that end of it because, I don't know, actually.
It makes sense to me.
Meanwhile, so the army are obviously investigating all the goings on at that end of the corridor and found some weird stuff. I think Chloe Ashcroft, she's like a scientific advisor type thing. Rodney Bewes is in the TARDIS, which is travelling up the time corridor, I think, to see where it goes. Whoops.
I quite like these crash acting bits.
You just throw yourself at the floor at the same angle as the other guy.
At the same time.
Yeah. There we go. That does look quite smart, the way the TARDIS doors seem to materialise as part of the furniture.
Yeah.
And he's looking for Turlough. Hello. Where's Steen off to? Yeah.
That's the gun.
Go on, Doctor, point the gun.
Uh-oh.
Oh, dear. Do you know, Stein's gun looks far more menacing than the Doctor's piece of plastic.
Yeah, it's got a massive silence on the end. Oh, that's a good cliffhanger. That was good,
isn't it?
Yeah.
There you go.
Well,
honestly,
oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead. I was going to say.
No, I was only going to say. I mean, as much as there's so many problems, if you like, with this story. It really doesn't make a lot of sense, really. But it's such good fun to watch.
Yeah.
If you like a high body count in your Doctor Who, but it's all. I've always enjoyed it. It doesn't matter how many times I watch it. I no idea what's going on really, up to a point, and that was probably the point. At some point in episode 1, it all just seems to, I don't know, fragment. I think it comes back together in part 2, but again, it disappears again. It's like a nebulous thing that you're always forever grasping, but there's so much going on. It almost sort of doesn't matter. It does matter, because otherwise it would make sense, but it sort of doesn't as well. But it's. I still enjoy watching it. I love it.
It was good. I liked that. Yeah. Hopefully we can get Al on and we can do part 2 next week.
Or do part 2 on our own, whichever.
Yeah. See if we can make it or not. But hopefully you've enjoyed listening to our ramblings.
Witterings. Late night rambling. It is literally like the late night Who Corner to Corner show. Welcome. It's now 1 o'clock in the morning, and we're here to keep you company till 4 a.m. Let's sit back with some nice, relaxing music. Here we go. Don't go anywhere. Put the kettle on. I should get that gig, shouldn't I?
You should do, yeah. That's quite a good end for the episode, yeah.
There you go.
Right. Thank you, listeners. We will catch you next time on the podcast, and see you then.
And bye for now. Sleep well.